interesting thing is we actually charge to belong. Because it's easy to join something and never do anything. Say, oh, I belong to these clubs. You actually pay $25 for each club. Now you think, that's not much for people like us. But you know what? 25 times 9, if you put your money where your mouth is, right? And if you want to develop and you want to network and you want to really get with people, these are the folks to do it. And so we did an engagement survey, and the people in these employee business resource groups, 65% said engagement increased that much. Because now they were able to connect. So imagine you're sitting in an account in northern Arizona. Maybe we don't have any other accounts here, so how do I feel connected to other people that might be like me or that I want to learn about? And so these groups allow us to connect across. And so people, have that feeling to say, I can get on a webinar, we're having a meeting, we're doing whatever, we're having a local chapter meeting here. These are things that we can get involved in. So it's really helped us. So it really helped raise awareness, networking, and about opportunities. When I was sitting in George Mason as the resident district manager, I didn't have time to look at job postings. I was so buried over there. Somebody called me up one day and said, hey, did you see that job about diversity? Didn't you want to go into diversity and inclusion? I'm like, yeah. I didn't see the job. They said, well, it's posted. You should post. So I posted for the job. So had I not put my intentions out there through my networking, I would have probably never had that opportunity. We do a Better Tomorrow Summit. So once a year, we invite all our clients. We do them in different parts of the country. We just had one in Atlanta back in November. And we have diversity, sustainability, and wellness. Those are the 3 buckets because that's about our better tomorrow, right? If we can enlist the help and make the world a better place tomorrow. So we do a whole full day session at no cost to our clients to go to this. And you pay thousands of dollars. We bring in unbelievable people with expertise, and there's breakout sessions and all of that. So again, the Office of Diversity continues to invest in these opportunities that we can raise awareness for all the different opportunities. So you think, okay, how do you measure this stuff, right? It's all good, we're talking a good line here. Well, we measure it with a scorecard. And part of my previous role was to manage the scorecard. And so it's kind of one of these things that we either all win or we all lose. And it's tied to people's bonuses. 10 to 15% of your bonus is tied to diversity and inclusion. So if we don't do what we say we're going to do, not getting anything. And so we measure hires. I've had 11 jobs in my 24 years. You think, well, that's hopping around a lot. But back in the day, in my first 5 years, I had 5 jobs in my first 5 years because it was about, hey, Ben, I got this account over there. You want to go? Yeah, okay, I'll go. How much you paying me? Okay, whoop, I'm there. Those were the days, right? Now it's like, you really got to it's quite a process to go through. But that was one of the reasons how we changed the landscape of our members. Right? When we have a job posted, if only all females post, we're like, no, that's not good enough. I want people with diversity. I want to see white men. I want a diverse slate of candidates so I can choose the best qualified candidate. There's been quite a process over the years that we have endured. We also look at promotions, again, around women and minorities to make sure that everybody's having an equal opportunity to post for these jobs. We don't tell people we need 4 of these and 3 of these. It's based on availability and based on the census data. Comes from an outside company, so we're not rigging the deck or anything. And I had my campus group miss, not last year, the year before, because they didn't make it on hires. They missed it by 3 points. So tell that to the CEO of that division to say, you're not getting your 15% because we didn't hire enough people. We also look at the qualitative, so we look at engagement, we look at training. We have a lot of great things that people can do to develop themselves around diversity and inclusion. We have great mentoring programs, formal, informal. We're looking at the promotion and retention of our females and minorities in the company. So if you're a high potential in the company, you're on our list, and we want to make sure that you're getting the proper things that you need so you can move on to the next level. Because again, it is easy to get lost in the sauce with a lot of people, but people that want to do something, if they raise their hand, they can certainly do it. Because when the one person that raises their hand, there's probably a whole room of people that say, no, I don't want to do that, I'm happy right here. And people look at me and say, you're changing jobs again? Look, I was in that job 5 years. How long do you need to stay? 5 years? I'm going to take what I learned there, and I'm going to put it in this new job. So the results. So we continue to have, even though our leadership has changed over the 13 years, we still have commitment at the top. because without that, we can't do it. Because, right, it all flows downhill. So if the senior leaders aren't communicating with the regional vice presidents, to the district managers, to the managers, to the front line, this journey would be over. And it's not something we can take for granted. It's not something we say, check the box, we're done, we did it, good for us. It's a constant thing that we need to do. You know, we continue to think about that top-down, middle-out, bottom-up strategy. How do we get people involved? When people want to raise their hand, how do we get them involved in these things? And I had a conversation with one of the managers here today and say, hey, I want to get more involved in such and such. What can I do? That's the stuff we do. You know, conversation. And holding people accountable. You know, not easy because we're so geographically dispersed. It's easy when you're kind of in one place. But for us, it's like in the accounts that I took over, there wasn't any accountability. And so now I'm swimming upstream trying to save these accounts and get them where they need to be because just somebody took their eye off the ball. It happens. You know, we're a big company. Those things happen. But there's people like me that care enough, and I'll do whatever I have to do to maintain and keep that business because I truly believe in this company because it's been good to me. It's been good to me. So at the end of the day, I think Zig Ziglar says it best. He says you can get everything in life, you can get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. And that's always kind of been my mantra. I've always said I'm not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, but I can certainly, you know, build those relationships, help people get where they want to go, do what we need to do, and make a difference. Because, you know, life is too short and life goes by fast, and you're young and you've got your whole careers ahead of you. So think about your opportunities that you have. Again, you think about a company like Sodexo, whether you want IT, communications, HR, marketing. I mean, we don't just have one of those jobs. We have many, many, many jobs like that. So if the Office of Diversity has 22, I think our marketing organization, probably across the country, across all the divisions, is probably several hundred people doing marketing. So again, I think we're one of these best kept secrets that people don't think about contract food service. But it's kind of a cool place because, I mean, I've had some great opportunities in my career. And, you know, back in the day, the hospitality industry didn't pay much. You know, we didn't go into it for the money back then. It was like, yeah, because we love people, we love food. Now, let me tell you, I'm in it for the money. And you know what? I'm doing pretty darn good. So I put this up against anything, and we've got great benefits. Like a company like ours, as soon as you come on board, you get 3 weeks vacation. Every manager, 3 weeks right out of the gate. You don't have to wait a year, nothing. Your benefits kick in immediately, 401k, we got all the stuff that most people have. But the 3 weeks vacation thing is like pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, now we're going to open up for questions. Don't be shy.
So we've got two folks here that have got
one in the back there.
finding.
All right, so I'm Roy Asher, freshman, also in IH Fantasy major. I was wondering, I noticed you have the Pride Club, which focuses on LGBTA as a community, but what has been done to include the queer community?
And I guess for us, we just say LGBT. We don't put the A, we don't put the Q, we don't put all the other letters, but it's about everybody, right? So that encompasses it all. And if we have people that have challenges or whatever, like the transgender community, whatever those challenges are, then we try to deal with that. They bring that forth and say, hey, this is the challenges that I'm having. What's the policy on this? What are my rights? What do I have? We do it for everybody. So we don't necessarily just single out queer, bi, T, whatever.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay. And feel free, if I don't answer your question, feel free to come back at me again, because I don't want you to say that, oh, she didn't really answer my questions. Yes, you're back.
From a global perspective, how do you deal with diversity in countries that have active laws to prevent it, such as Russia with its LGBTQ laws?
Yeah, that, you know, I mean, even in the United States, you can still be fired, I think it's 29 states, just for being gay, in this United States of America. I mean, that's unbelievable. But working for Sodexo, regardless if you're in one of those states, you're not going to get fired. So whatever those countries are, we really try to look at those things. And I'm not even sure, not sure even we have business in Russia, to tell you the truth, because I don't hear about Russia very often. I don't know if we have that, but we have to look at those things, right, and say what makes the most sense, right? Because just like when a client says, "Hey, we don't want you because of your LGBT standpoint," well then, okay, then we're going to go take our marbles and go play someplace else because we will not compromise who we are. And it's the same thing in the other countries, right? There's teams of people that help to work through these challenges for our own employees. Like the whole trans community is a tough one. Right? If somebody comes in as a male and they're going to transition on the job as a female, we've got to make sure that the clients understand. We've got to make sure our employees understand. I mean, everybody's got to understand that process. So we do a lot of educating, and then we also bring in a lot of external resources. So like we had Donna Rose, we have some other people we use now that are experts in that field. So if I have a school that says, hey, I have a student that's going to be transgender and coming into the school system next year, can you help us? Then we hook them up with these external people that we have. I mean, we're experts to some degree, but we don't have the depth of knowledge. So we have people on race, gender, you name it, we have the experts that we use to really help us to solve those problems. And it's an ongoing thing, right? We're never going to solve for everything, because just when you think you got it all figured out, something else pops up, right? There's another letter we want to add on. And this church I go to, the pastor said something on Sunday, and he said, I hope we don't even have to refer to the LGBT community.
My name is Andrew. I don't have a microphone. Sorry.
That's okay. I can hear you.
First, let me say thank you so much for coming over here and presenting. You did a wonderful job. It's very admirable, I think, what you're doing to advocate equal opportunity. And the question I have is just, I would like to actually be informed a little bit more on your story. Is where did you start and what got you involved with Sodexo? Because you said you worked there for
24 years, yeah.
Somewhere else, correct?
Yeah. So when I got out of college, I did what you were supposed to do back in college. You want to know how did I get to Sodexo and what I do before. I went to work for Marriott because that's who you went to work for. I go to work for Marriott. Except I was in the healthcare division, and I don't know why I'm going to the healthcare division because that's just not my area of, I just don't do well in that environment. I'm getting charged this and this and this, and well, how much do you make? And I told her, she said, So he was underpaying me and charging her. So she threw him out, and I started my own business. I started my own small contract food service business. So before you know it, I had 6 accounts. And then I decided to buy a restaurant at the same time. I don't know, I just was like, ooh, let's do it all. And so I employed my sister, my Culinary Institute of America sister, who is really the Uber chef that keep her in the back of the house, but don't put her in the front with the people. And so I kept her over here, and they were an hour apart. So I'd run to the restaurant, run up there, put my suit on, run up there, do that business. And after a couple of years, I said, I'm done. I'm done, it's too much. I'm working 7 days a week. I was walking around with thousands of dollars in my pocket because I just didn't even have time to count the money to go to the bank. And I'd say to my mom, I said, Mom, I got like $10,000 in my pocket. Oh my God, go to the bank, put that money in there. But I didn't have time to count the money to go to the bank. And I said, I'm done with being on my own. Because everybody thinks it's so glorious to be in your own business. But I found people were stealing from me all the time. You try to treat people right. And people, they take a nickel, you take $1, before you know it, they're really ripping you off. And I said, I'm done. So I said, I'm going to find, I'm going to give this food service thing one more try, and if that doesn't make it, I'm done. So I see this ad in the paper, the old newspaper, right? We used to look for ads in the newspaper. And I see this thing. It wasn't Sodexo at the time. It was a small company called Gardner Merchant. And they were looking for relief chefs. I said, oh, good. I get bored easy. You should probably tell, 11 jobs. I get bored easy. I said, well, let me see what this is about. And so I got hired on the spot. And I said, if I am not a district manager in 5 years, I'm done. I'm getting out of the food service industry. Almost to my 5th anniversary, I made it to district manager. So I was hired on as a relief chef. That lasted 6 weeks. I got my own account. Then I became a GM, put my little suit on, was my GM. Then I became an area GM, so I had more accounts. Then I became a district manager within that 5 years. So Sodexo has been good to me in the sense that I've had these different opportunities, like the whole training thing. I had never trained anyone. And I was a district manager at that point, and somebody was sitting in a meeting like this, and somebody said, hey, so-and-so just quit. I think you would be good at that job. I'm like, me? She said, yeah, I think you'd be good. So I took a demotion, and I took a cut in pay, and it was the best darn thing I ever did. Because I knew at that point, I didn't want to be a district manager my whole rest of my career. And that was, at that time, if you made it there, you had arrived, you could stay there the rest of your career.